All right, we'll get started. Welcome, everyone, to our council meeting this evening. Thanks for being here. We're glad you're here, and if we could just ask that if you have your cell phones with you or anything, if you just turn them to vibrate or silent, and then we will begin. And I've asked Greg Ballon, who works with our power department, that he would lead us in the pledge.
Please repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Greg. We appreciate that. That is one of the loudest I've ever heard our pledge. That was awesome. It's good to have a good crowd here. Okay, are there any scouts that are attending here today? Any scouts? We're going to introduce you if you're any scouts here. I know some of you have been scouts, but we're talking about the young. Okay, and then we'll move forward from that. Our first order of business is approval of minutes for our council meeting on August 6, 2019. Are there any questions or issues regarding those minutes? Okay, if not, we'll ask a motion.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, that's okay.
I was glancing at the information, all the yellow. We've had a bunch of different versions of the minutes go back and forth, and I'm still not comfortable with what it says. And my concern is the minutes are our record. If anybody decided to have a court action against us, if the minutes aren't accurate, it could cause us problems. And I know I tend to ramble on, but I had a lot more to say about the project as it relates to solar power and wind power and renewables, and that didn't get in the minutes. So I would like to postpone approval of the minutes until we can get this sorted out. So
okay,
if no one disagrees, I would make a motion that we postpone approval of the minutes to the next council meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll do that. Thanks, Jim. Next is our Murray City Council Employee of the Month recognition, and Kim is here. Where are you, Kim? There you are. Okay, I'll meet you over there. This is Kim Fong. She's our library director, and we would like to have Chelsea Hoffman, if you would come up, please. You just stand right there, and I know you love this. Look at her. She asked us if we'd vote her in, and I said, sure. No, I'm good. So we are excited. We love this program. This is a wonderful program to recognize our employees and their dedication and their we wouldn't be here if it weren't for our employees, so we're grateful for every single one of our employees. So, Chelsea, you've been with the city library the whole time, 13 years?
Yeah.
Awesome. And we as a council want to recognize you, and there is your certificate of recognition, and we'll put your name back on there. And more importantly, there's a $50 gift card for you.
Thank you.
That certificate's nice, but that $50 goes a lot longer, but we really appreciate all you do, and Kim's going to come up and say some more things, but just from a council, we wanted to show our appreciation and thanks for all you do. So thank you so much.
I'm pleased to be able to talk about Chelsea a little bit tonight. She's an awesome employee. So Chelsea Hoffman is a valued member of our library team. She has worked in many different capacities, including page, library aide, assistant librarian, librarian technician, and now librarian. Her duties include maintaining and purchasing items for our children's collections, including books, DVDs, music, CDs, audiobooks, and ebooks. She is always willing to lend a hand in any project, and I mean any project. She will do anything that she is asked of. She is responsible for the design of our dragon mascot, Murray, and has personally spent many hours inside the costume, delighting young library patrons. Her library expertise is appreciated by fellow library staff. I am happy to be able to honor such a hardworking and dedicated employee. Thank you, Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea, you're not going to get away. We're just going to, is anybody here with you want to recognize?
My parents and coworker.
Do you love that? Welcome. I love how she did that. On her way out, she said. Well, Chelsea, thank you. We all appreciate you. I don't know if anybody else wants to.
Yes, thank you. We really do appreciate you.
Did you know she was
I love the library. I mean,
you know she was the mascot?
no.
That's like revealing the jazz bear. I was really surprised. I had no idea, and I thought, no, now we know.
We'll strike that from the minutes.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
And you don't have to stay.
Thanks. Well, they sure got up fast. Okay. All righty. Next on the agenda is the fire department swearing in, Assistant Chief Fire Marshal and Joey Middleman, and Captain Travis Botcher. Chief John Harris presenting. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you very much. Mayor and City Council, thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. As you said, my name is John Harris. I'm the fire chief here at Murray. And beyond doubt, this is one of my favorite things to do. We got two fantastic individuals, and it's really an honor to me to promote them here today. But I got a little something. I brought something for show and tell today. I can unveil. Okay. Before I bring them up, I wanted to talk to you about what this is. So, in the fire service, we have here on our lapels something that designates our rank. And as the chief, I have 5 bugles, or trumpets. And I want to tell you a little bit about where that came from. Okay? So this right here is an actual bugle or trumpet. And in the late 1800s, so well before they had radios, on the fire ground, whoever was in command would speak through this. And he would yell out all his orders on the fire ground. So in order, when you got to the scene and you want to know who was in charge, you look for the person who had this. And they use this lanyard right here to hold it around their neck, and they had the trumpet. And over time, the trumpet or bugle represents our rank. Just like the police have chevrons or the military, the bugles became our thing for command. Some of these bugles got very ornate. They would actually, some even have some gold leaf on it. This one doesn't. Some would have some engravings, maybe of steam fire engines and things like that. This one doesn't. Some would have some really fancy, the lanyard there. This one doesn't. But what that tells me, though, is the fancy ones were given in recognition of some things. The ones that were very plain like this were ones that were called working trumpets, the ones that were actually used. The Murray Fire Department was started in 1906, and it was until 1950, 1960 that the radios came about. So this is one that was actually used at that time. So kind of a neat thing, So what they kind of say is when I promote somebody, I'm taking some of my bugles and I'm giving it to them. And I'm giving them the bugles with the trust that they're going to uphold the things that are important to our fire department. We have trust, community, honor, and service as the main things that we focus on in the fire department. And so today, in addition to giving people the badge for the promotion, I'm also going to give them their bugles. So a little bit of history there for you. So how often do people bring things for show and tell? It's kind of nice. Okay, I'd like to start off with Travis Botcher as our captain. Travis, can you come on up here? Or maybe... Travis, come on up. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about Travis, and I'm probably going to embarrass him a little bit, which is also one of the good parts of the job here. Travis, born in Murray. But one thing that's kind of interesting is I like asking people how they got in the fire service. And Travis had an incident. When he was about 4 years old, he was playing with matches and actually almost burned his parents' house down. Tens of thousands of dollars. And since he's a Murray native, Murray firefighters responded, and actually Gil, the former fire chief, is one that responded on him. And he had to come back to the fire station and have the wrath of Gil yell at him to stop playing with matches. But the interesting thing is that experience, when he saw the firefighters taking care of the issue, is he said, you know what, I want to do that one day. And since he was 4 years old, he followed that dream. He actually, at 17, joined our cadet program, which is what we have for mainly high school students, where we teach them about the career. And to show you how important that program is, this is what we developed out of it. He soon became a paramedic, and then now he's going to be what we call a training captain, which is a new position for us. And what really got him this spot is his enthusiasm. He was so excited about it. And I remember his first week, which was just a couple weeks ago, he was already doing drills with the crews. He just jumped right into it. And I just love that enthusiasm. Fantastic. I want to say this about him, too. He's been in the National Guard for 5 years. As a flight medic, he's already been promoted to sergeant. And I think it was during school, or how you put it, he was in charge of over 110 people for 7 weeks. So this guy might look all young and innocent, but he's a sergeant. A little bit about him: rock climbing, canyoneering, backpacking, hunting, loves the outdoors, currently training for a half marathon. And when Colette was asked about what he's like, she said he's an incredible dad and husband. So very excited to have you aboard. With that, like I mentioned, I got your bugles for you. And I think we commence with the swearing in. Okay, do you want to go ahead and introduce who you have here today, and then call up who you would like to pin your badge on?
Sure. There are a lot. I have a lot of family here today. So, first, the fire department. It's definitely a huge family there. But sorry. So, I have a huge family support system. So this is my dad, my grandma, my dad's mom, and my mom's mom here next to her, and then my mom. I have my in-laws, my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and my wife Colette, my son Remington, my sister Melissa. Keep going. So I have Reed and Sarah, Colette's brother and sister, and their new baby over there, and then my sister Emily out there, and Ava and Abby, my two nieces. So, and then Colette and Remington are both in.
Okay. Well, I guess maybe not.
He had a pretty good drink from the drink fountain.
It's cute.
Joey Middleman. Yes. Is that not clear? Oh, no.
He's so
I guess I didn't
obedient.
say. Okay.
Stand up here. Make me blush. Great.
Okay. Joey Middleman, honestly, is one of the most intelligent people I ever met. Education, bachelor's degree, UVU, master's degree, USU, and just got accepted to the Executive Fire Officer Program with the National Fire Academy, which I'm proud to say the mayor and I are graduates of. Joey, unfortunately, though, is forever plagued with looking about 15 years old. It just is what it is. But it'll be in his favor in a few more years. But I want to let you know, he's already got 18 years in the fire service. He's not as young as he looks. He's really an impressive guy. He comes from a second generation of family that's been dedicated to the emergency services. His parents and siblings, who are really very goofy people, who I get along great with because of that. But they've been teaching EMS since longer than I've been here. They've taught EMT, paramedic programs. They've really been part of our family. And Joey also has that teaching background, so he just does a great job communicating with people. And I love about Joey is he gets so excited learning new things. And that's really what we want to see is someone who's constantly progressing and looking for these new things. And when he took on the fire marshal position, so fire marshal's the position, the rank is assistant chief. And when he took this on, just full speed running. He's already got some new programs going. He's computerizing our whole inspection program. And we're just so excited to have him on here with enthusiasm. It's going to be tough to say who came with the most people, though. Well, first of all, Joey has a whole litter of kids. I don't know. They're all over the place running all, if you can keep them under control. So, but I guess let's go ahead and start off, and maybe you can introduce everybody you have here with you today. If you can remember everybody you have here.
I don't think I did very well before I got hired. I missed somebody.
Look at Joey's counting.
Why don't I start in the back with my dear wife? And that's Kira. She's buried in kids right now, so good luck on standing up. And then from there, I'll introduce my mom and dad. That's my mom, Margaret, and my dad, Kirk, with the video camera there. And then I've got my oldest, Maddie. I don't know where you are. She's somewhere. Oh, right there. You can't miss the red hair. And then she's 19. My daughter, Allie, is 16. My son, Joe, is 12 in the back. And then I've got my son, Lincoln. And then my daughter, Daphne, wherever she is with the white hat on. And then Mr. Miles is sitting there. Yep, Mr. Miles. And then I've got my sister Jamie, and then that handsome boy that looks like mine. That's really weird. He's actually my nephew, but out of all the kids, he's the closest to looking like me. So anyhow, and then I'm sure I'm missing maybe somebody. And then as Travis would say, I absolutely appreciate the fire family. It's one and all. So it's been a really special part of my life.
So I asked Colette what she thought about Joey, an incredible dad and husband. I asked Kira, and she kind of went, yeah. So I didn't really have anything to say from that. So, but as promised, I have a couple bugles for you, and I think we'd like to go ahead and get sworn in.
Do solemnly swear to support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and perform the duties of my office as an Assistant Chief / Fire Marshal with fidelity.
Who's swearing you in?
I think my dear wife is coming up here. Good luck.
Joe.
You wear extra layers just in case.
Oh. Let's go.
All right, that's it for me. Thanks again.
Thanks, Chief. We appreciate it. Julie, was my son with Travis when he started that fire? Thank goodness. I got not that fire. Oh yeah, that's right. Got me a little nervous there. Sweet Travis, I cannot even picture that. Well, thanks. And you know what? Just like
Chair?
Jim said earlier.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
you mind if I
Please, Mayor.
Jack, for just a minute? It's times like this that I kind of feel like the proud papa. Okay, both of these young men are just really fine young men, but I really want to just say something about Joey, because Joey, this title of Assistant Chief and Fire Marshal is a title that I held from 1994 through 1999. And I'm really proud that Joey's taken this position, and he'll do great. He's younger, thinner, better looking than I ever was, but no, he will do an amazing job. And I know that Captain Betcher will also do a great job. And I hired Joey, so I like I say, I feel like a proud papa. So.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate that.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Now, I know you guys want to stay. You don't have to. You can go. So we'll just wait a second while 80% of you leave, so.
It was all firefighters.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple citizen comments out there.
We'll get those doors shut and then we'll begin. Just a second.
Oh, the Kimballs are here for that one, aren't they? Yeah. Okay.
All right, here we go. Thank you. Thanks, Jan. Thanks, everyone. Okay, we will move on to the citizen comments. Now, this is where anybody can get up and address the council, please, and on any concerns or issues or anything you'd like to talk about. Now, this will not, there will be an opportunity for our 2 public hearings that we have. The business items, there's no public hearing, public comment, sorry. So we'll now turn it over to the citizens. You have 3 minutes, and if you'd come up to the podium, address your name and city, and Jan, you have the forms right there for me. Jan Lopez has those forms, if you'd please fill those out. So we'll open that up for anyone. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Janice Strobel. I am a resident of Murray, Utah, and I just wanted to share with you what I have discovered is an amazing opportunity for our city. I am not affiliated with these groups, but I have been really struck by what they will offer our city. Our city is unique and beautiful, and they recognize that. And we have experts coming from London, England, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, anyway, and local experts also. And they will spend Thursday at a community workshop at Desert Star Theater talking about ideas and things that have worked in other areas, things that they notice as they're going to be right here in our town. Yeah, the focus is going to be our Murray downtown, and we all know that our Murray downtown is something everyone wants to improve upon and be better serving our community than it currently is. There's just, to be able to have this opportunity is astounding. And so I just encourage all of us to take advantage of that as best as we possibly can. I know that the council and others in the city have gotten special invitation, and you have very busy schedules, but if you can make it for any of it, an hour, 2 hours, the whole thing on Thursday, that would be great. And then on Friday, the UVU architecture students that have just started that school, this will be their first semester, will be conducting public survey. They will have a 3 to 5 minute survey that they will ask the public that come to take, and then they'll have posters up that they want to get feedback from the public as to what it is that they like, what they don't like. This is all just to benefit us. That survey is for Murray. It is not for any other part of the valley. It's for the Murray community. So we have an amazing opportunity, and I just encourage all of us to take advantage of this because we can just build on it and do great things. Thank you.
Jan, what time is it and where and when is it again, just for the audience sake?
Star Theater from 8:30 to 1 on both Thursday and Friday.
It's on our calendar also.
And if we come Thursday, it's a $20 registration fee, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, is that the room off to the side before you go into Desert Star?
That is my guess.
Okay.
That is my guess.
Yeah.
Right, the banquet room.
I have not received the confirmation of it, so.
Well, you put a lot of work into this, Jan. You put a lot of work into this, so, yeah.
I just think it's an
Right.
amazing opportunity.
Good.
All right. Thank you, Janice. Okay. Any other citizen comments? Okay. Feel like saying going once? All right. We will close that part. Thank you, Janice. We appreciate that. Okay. We will now move on to our public hearings. Our first public hearing is to consider a resolution approving the city's application for a grant from the Edward Byrne Justice Assistant Grant Program, which is known as JAG, and Police Chief Craig Burnett presenting. Welcome, Chief Burnett.
Thank you. This is something we do every year. We have the opportunity to apply for this grant from the Justice Department. Excuse me. As part of that, we are required to give notice that we intend to apply for the grant and what we plan on doing with it, and then we have a time for public comment. So the grant is given to different cities or agencies in the state or actually across the country, depending. They have some criteria as to how much money we get. Then that is very strictly designated as to how we can use that money or what it can be spent on. This year, we plan on applying for the grant, and it'll be $34,849. And we will be. Our intent would be to use that to purchase 5 additional HD in-car digital cameras for our patrol cars. We have body cameras on all our officers, but we don't have in-car cameras on all cars. We did at one point, but technology changes, and so we're in the process of trying to upgrade those. So that's. If you have any questions.
Any questions for the chief?
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Chief. We appreciate it. Okay. Then we will open this for public comments. Are there any public comments regarding this? No one's. They like grants, huh? Okay, we'll close that part and we'll bring it back to the council for questions or motion.
I will make a motion to adopt the resolution approving the city's application for a grant from the Edward Byrne Justice Assistance Grant Program, also known as JAG.
I'll second.
Jennifer.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Okay, next we will, for a public hearing, consider an ordinance relating to the land use amends the zoning map for the property located at 4670 South, 900 East here in Murray, Utah, from CD, Commercial Zoning District, to MU, Mixed Use Zoning District, and Melinda Greenwood is presenting. Welcome, Melinda, and our applicants are the Kimballs.
Thank you. Okay. So we have tonight before you essentially 2 items, but same property, same applicant. The first one is a general plan amendment from commercial to mixed use, and then a zone map amendment from commercial to mixed use. This is for the property located at 4670 South 900 East, more commonly referred to as the old Kmart property or the former Kmart property. The property is 10.5 acres in size. Here's just an aerial of where that property is located. It's in the very top part of Murray. It kind of juts out like an arm, so we've got interesting boundaries over there where that property is located. But you can see from the zoning map, it's currently zoned commercial. And again, there's just kind of the weird city boundary over there, this node where this property is located. The proposed zone is to go from from the general commercial to mixed use. Again, here's just a view of the property. So this property is sat vacant for a number of years, and the city passed the most recent general plan update in 2016 or 17? It was before I was here, but we've had several folks look at this property over the last few years, and finally now had the zone request come forward. So there's been also, the Planning Commission heard this item on July 18th and has forwarded a positive recommendation to the City Council to approve the zone map and the general plan map amendment for tonight. So there's 3 different areas or findings that I did want to point out here. So the redesignation of the future land use map for the subject property is in keeping with patterns of development in the area. Currently, there is an area, or surrounding area is a mix of residential and commercial uses. The amendment from commercial to mixed use is supported by the description that and the intent that general commercial land use designation, which recognizes the appropriateness of mixed-use developments, including high-density multifamily housing, and in the general commercial designation. The requested amendments to the future land use and zoning map have been carefully considered by staff. And based on the characteristics of the sounding area, they feel like it's an appropriate amendment to bring forward to the City Council. So they did, again, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on July 18th. There were a number of residents from Mill Creek City, mostly in the audience, that expressed some concerns. It's a little difficult to address a lot of those because what we're considering at that Planning Commission meeting and then tonight is not a project, but just the rezone of the property. So a lot of those comments that have been brought forward really are not germane to this step in the process, but would be for future steps in the process should this particular project go forward if the general plan and the zone map amendment are approved. So future steps then would include that this would come back to Planning Commission for public hearing for conditional use permit. And that would be the most appropriate time to address some of the concerns that have been brought forward, such as circulation, what type of development may go in, just project-specific items that we just really can't address at this high level of the rezone. We've also received some written communication from those, even from Mill Creek City council member, from other residents in the area. And again, it's just mostly related to a project-specific concerns that we just can't address at this level. So I'd be happy to answer any questions for you. We also have the applicant here tonight, Kimball Associates. We've got a couple, actually 3, I see, representatives from Kimball's here this evening if you have any questions for them. I did want to say that one question that came up not only in the Planning Commission meeting, but also when this was addressed, I guess it would have been 3 weeks ago now at the Committee of the Whole, was the question of whether or not there was an easement across the property. going back into that residential area located in Mill Creek, and there's not been any record that we've been able to find, any formal record of that existence. The applicant's been through 2 different title companies searching for records. The city hasn't been able to find anything, and so that was a question that we had specifically been asked to address this evening. So no formal record exists of that. So again, but that would be something that would be addressed in future should a project come forward, and then something that we would work with staff, the applicant, and residents to try and see what the best conclusion is on access through there.
Okay. Thanks, Melinda. Any questions for Melinda at this time? Before we'll have Dave come up. But any questions for Melinda at this time? Okay, Mr. Kimball, Dave, do you want to come up? Or? Okay. Welcome.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, Council, for hearing it, and Mayor and Melinda, thank you for hearing our applications tonight. The only thing I would add is that we've worked on other mid-box, big-box type sites that are tired, that have been vacated in other cities, and retail is just a changing use. The footprints are getting smaller, and this is a great piece of property. We love working in Murray. We've done other developments here that we're very proud of, and as Melinda touched on, we're in the due diligence phase of trying to figure out what this property has to offer, what the restrictions and site constraints are. And so at the present moment, the biggest one is zoning. We don't feel the highest and best use for this property any longer is straight general commercial with large parking lots. We think there's great opportunity for commercial to remain along 9th East, and we're just trying to figure out what this site can accommodate. And so I welcome the public comments, and we really appreciate the idea that this could be considered for mixed use.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Now we'll have you come up and ask it on the thing. So now we'll open. Yeah, can you? What's that? Okay, the public. Okay. Okay, we'll still have you. You can do them both up there. So, okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, now we'll open it up for public comments. So, come on up. Yeah, in just 3 minutes, state your name and residence, and we'll have you fill out the form if you haven't. Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. I'm Deborah Hoyt. I live in the Green Valley subdivision, which has been acquired by Mill Creek City. Pertaining to the zoning map of the property located at 4670 South and 9th East, I've been a resident of the Green Valley subdivision for 41 years, and I have 2 concerns concerning the amendment of the zoning on the property from CD to MU. The first is street access. An east-west running road labeled 4680 South on the west side of the map and 4705 South on the east side of the map has been in continuous use to provide access to the Green Valley subdivision for more than 50 years. I request that guarantees be made that this access will be maintained in perpetuity. Should construction activities necessitate temporary closing of the road, access shall be interrupted for less than 4 hours within any 24-hour period. Upon completion of the project in full, complete access for ingress and egress shall be available to the Green Valley residents at all times. Second, the subdivision covenants for the Green Valley subdivision restrict the height of buildings to 1 1/2 stories above ground level. To maintain continuity with the neighborhood, the new construction should maintain similar height restrictions. Thank you for your consideration of these concerns.
Thank you.
And
my
question was, how many residential units does Kimball plan to put in the property?
Okay, we'll get that answer for you. Thank you. Well, okay. Other public comments. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Adam Thompson. I live in Three Fountains, 831 East Three Fountains. I'm on the board up there, 297 units. I'm also running for City Council District 3. I actually support this change in rezone. I have a background, a master's in real estate development and a graduate certificate in urban planning from the University of Utah. I think it is in continuity with the surrounding area, I would support it on city council. I think what's going to happen is your height restrictions are 35 feet there, and you're not going to see higher than that, and there's going to be setbacks as well. I don't think that would be a problem. However, the only issue that I see, or one of the big issues I see, is the ingress egress that she brought up. I think that because it's been used that way for 50 years, like you said, there needs to be some input on the citizens on that aspect, because they don't have access to make a left turn on 7th. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comments? Welcome.
My name is Marion Gary. I live at 4687 Namba Way, right behind Kmart. The street that I live on is called Namba Way. The original owner of the house was Mr. Namba. He is the one that went down and fought with the courts to keep that easement through there. I believe when I bought the house, I was told that the easement belonged to my property. And now I'm hearing that there's no record of it. Well, there is a record somewhere, but somebody just isn't finding it. Second of all, that's been commercial property, and I believe it should stay commercial property, or to zone it R1 for residential. We've had so many apartments built around us right now. There's 17 new apartments within a 3-mile radius of that facility. And everywhere we're looking, we're trying to build more apartments, and we're trying to go higher and higher and higher. That's literally in my backyard. Would you want a big apartment in your backyard? I don't believe so. I mean, I believe in progress, but when you start putting it right in people's backyards, that's not right. Anyone who was looking for a house, I would have never bought in that area if I would have known that there's going to be a big apartment complex right beside me. I looked for a place to live that was family oriented, not with a bunch of traffic, not with a bunch of cars going through all the time, not with 1,000 people living right around me. It's been a pretty nice place to live, but it's not going to be so nice anymore if you build big high-rises there. And I believe it needs to be checked into. And if there's no access through there, we're going to have problems with fire department. We're going to have problems with medical assistance. We're going to have a lot of problems because there's only one way in and out of that if that's closed off. And that's over on 7th East. And that is a nightmare trying to get in and out from that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comments? Welcome.
Loretta Jensen, and I live on Jamestown Circle, and I agree with what's been said. You know, his concern, because we have too many in Murray, too many high-rise, 4 and 5 units, and I'd like to know what the capacity, what the occupancy rate is on them, with all them, and I would just really strongly suggest that we keep that like 1.5, 2 levels, just low, and maybe 1 single families, maybe twin homes, whatever in there, but not anything big and gigantic. I think that's what I agree, that they need to keep that access in there too.
Thank you, Loretta. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that part of the hearing. Do we want to invite Melinda the Kimball's back up, or you to answer anything you can?
So there is one thing I would like to point out, which is just a difference in height allowances between the two zones. The maximum height in the commercial zone is 35 feet, but there is an allowance for up to 50 feet in the mixed use zone. There are required setbacks, so that zoning allowance of the 50 feet can only take place 100 feet away from the property line. So there is, the zone does allow for an increase in the height.
Point of information, does that allow 100 feet from each direction of the property line? Is that where you're talking about the setback being?
Yes, yes, it would be
Sorry.
100 feet in from any property line, could go up to 50 feet.
Okay, now Any questions from Melinda, from the council? For the Kimballs? Anything for the Kimballs on this? Okay, Melinda, thank you. Okay, we'll bring it back to the council for discussion. Or a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we adopt an ordinance relating to land use which amends the zoning map for the property located at 4670 South, 900 East, Murray City, Utah, from CD Commercial Zoning District to MU Mixed Use Zoning District.
I'll second.
Jennifer?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Something I should have done 45 minutes, Kathleen. I apologize. I've been looking at you, and I know you could care less, but I care. So Jim sent me a note, and I thought, darn it, I hate it when Jim sends me something because I already knew. So anyway, we just want to recognize our state senator, Senator Kathleen Reeby, for being here, and thanks for all you do for our.
Yes.
So thank you for being here.
It's great to see you here. Thanks for coming and joining us.
Thank you. Okay. We'll now move on to our business items. First is consider resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of a power supply agreement with Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems and the Red Mesa Tahabaha, did I say that right, Dale? Tahabaha solar project transaction scheduled under the such power supply agreement and related matters. Blaine Hackey presenting.
Thank you, Council. Tonight we're bringing an exciting resource availability for the city. We've talked in the past in the committee of the whole 3 weeks ago about this large-scale solar project. This is a renewable resource. It'll be fairly priced and fairly close to our house, meaning it's in the state of Utah. And I think this resource that we propose is going to be a nice fit into our portfolio. Our goal tonight is to have the council adopt a resolution that will allow Murray City Power to enter into a power agreement with the UAMPS organization, and the UAMPS organization will enter into an agreement with the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority. In your packet you have the resolution as well as the thicker agreement. The thicker agreement is more of a boilerplate agreement that most of the cities in UAMPS that buy a resource from UAMPS have to complete and have to adopt. And the resolution to your directive will also be asked to be adopted tonight. So let's talk about this plan. This is a plan, of course, down in the just north of the Arizona-Utah border in the Navajo Nation. It'll be a 66 megawatt plant that all of UAMPS members are subscribing to. This is the third large-scale solar plant that the Navajos have developed down there. 66 megawatts is a fairly large plant. To give you an idea, usually it takes 2.5 acres of land to make 1 acre, or to have enough acreage for a 1 megawatt of solar array. So 66 megawatts times 2.5 acres is about 165 acres that this plant or this land use will be used. Now we're only going to ask for 5 megawatts of the 66. Murray's taken about 7.5%, I believe, of the plant. The other 66 minus 5 is 61. The other 61 megawatts will be agreed to or taken by the other UAMPS members. The term that we're asking for is a 25-year term. This will be a 25-year contract. And the earliest that they can build this plant, I'm calling it a plant, but it's basically just solar arrays out in the desert. But the plant will be June of 2022. So we're still looking a couple years away. And it'll be a 25-year contract, so that'll go to 2047. Thank you. Who's smarter than I am at it? A lot of people.
That's not true.
Your paperwork says 2049.
It'll be 25 years. 2047 is the proper one.
Okay, so
The name of the project is the Red Mesa Tapaha Solar Resource. Now, the Navajo Nation is using this as a revenue maker. They're going to use this. They don't want people to own it. They want to own it themselves and sell this as a product, and we're okay with that. It is said that the revenue that they receive from the sale of the power to this will be used to go into the Light Up Navajo project that we were participants in last May, when we sent linemen down to the Navajo Nation and helped build power lines out to the remote Hogans and other areas. And so the purpose of this, at least on the Navajo side of things, is to make money and to put that back into their own neighborhoods. We like the idea of it being a contract versus ownership. We won't have a stranded investment if it's ownership. For example, we will pay for what we get. If a kilowatt hour is produced, we'll pay for it. If it's not produced, then we don't have a stranded capital investment. And in some places, that's kind of tough to pay for something that never generates. I kind of think that down in the Four Corners area, there's going to be a lot of sunshine, and that this will be a good producer for us. The transmission from that remote area is already lined up. The Navajo Nation has agreed to build the transmission line from the plot to the substation down close to Blanding, I believe it is. And then from Blanding, the Pacific Corp group will generate or transmit for us up to the Mona substation that's down by Nephi. So transmission is lined up. We don't have the expense of building the transmission line because the Navajos are going to do it part of the way. And then we've already received permission from the Pacific Corp that we will be able to get on their grid and bring it to Murray. The price will be $23.12 a megawatt hour for the first year, and will escalate at 2% over the life of the contract. And that's over the life of the 25-year project, the average will be about 29.5 megawatt hours, $29.5 per megawatt hour. And you consider this is a set price and it won't escalate over 25 years. That brings a lot of comfort to us because we know that even in year 2047, Jim, or 2049, River, we're going to have a $36 resource, and that in 25 years from now, that's a really good resource. But the average will be about $29, but it starts out at 23 and escalates from there. Now, since my committee of the whole presentation, I've had a couple council members ask me some questions. One was about the decommissioning of this. Once the 25 years is up, who's going to get rid of the plant or back to the brownfield? The answer to that is it's not going to be our responsibility. The Navajos will own it, and so they will be involved with the decommissioning of that. Now, that's kind of a big thing when it comes to coal-fired plants, because we're going through that right now down in the IPP project, where who's going to pay for the decommissioning of the IPP plant? And there's a lot of haggling, and people, of course, don't want to pay millions of dollars to get rid of the coal pile. And so it brings comfort to us, I guess I should say, that we're not going to be involved with the decommissioning of that in 25 years. The Navajos will take care of that. The other question that was asked of me was the extension of the contract after 25 years. Well, we have the possibility to go 26, 27, 28 years beyond that. Right now, in the agreement, there's nothing that denotes that. We're going to let chips fall where they may. We do know that they will have a 0.5% degradation of the photovoltaics per year. So over 25 years, what is at 100% capacity will be around 80%.
What are they basing that on? Because I've heard numbers as high as 2%.
I don't know. It was just in the keynote speaking points that UAMPS gave us.
And most of the issue is wind blown sand and such hitting the glass on the solar panels, and that degrades the capability to convert light to power.
You're right, Jim.
So I think that would be at least 0.5% would probably be
and that
more
would play into us probably not wanting to pursue a contract after 25 years if it's down in the 80% range.
Yeah, I think so.
And also goes back to the point of, do we want to buy something that's going to degrade fast or not? I mean, we're buying what's produced. If they can't guarantee production, then we just don't pay for it. This fits nicely into our portfolio. For example, our landfill methane, which is a renewable resource, covers about 8% of our energy needs. Our Cottonwood Hydro, coming out of Little Cottonwood Canyon, is about 2 or 3% of our needs, another nice renewable project that we use during the summertime. Our Federal Hydro on the Colorado River is about 30% of our needs. And of course, we're moving towards changing our coal-fired IPP plant to natural gas. So I think environmentally, we're moving towards I think we're beyond what most municipal cities in Utah are doing. And this will add to another 3 or 4% of our energy needs will be produced by this solar plant. Now,
3 to 4%.
3 to 4%
will be solar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, about the same as, well, about half of what our landfill methane is.
That's less. What was the nuclear?
The nuclear was about 6 or 7%.
That's a 10 megawatt number.
Megawatt number.
At 10, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So it'll be more than solar.
More than
power.
this, of course, because the nuclear
Okay.
could be 24 hours a day. This would be.
Helps me put it in
12 hours a day.
perspective.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. This will help displace our need on the market. Whatever we get generation from the solar project, we won't have to go to the market for. And the market's pretty volatile. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, but we know what the set price will be, $23 or $24, depending on the year. Just a couple final points. This will fit nicely into the SMRs, or the small nuclear. And I noted that a couple of weeks ago when we had the SMR vote, is that as the solar project is not able to produce, there has to be a backup plant somewhere of some type of fuel. And this, when the solar goes down, the SMRs will be able to dispatch up. Likewise, for wind or any other renewable out there, when they go down or they're not able to be used, you have to have a backup plan. And we're using our SMRs, or small modular reactors, for that purpose. The cost is amazingly low, we think, for solar. We have looked, Greg Balan, who is my staff member here, we've looked at 4 other different solar projects pursued. We looked at one in Tooele, one in Parowan, one in Cofort, and one out by IPP. And then this project came through. This was reasonably priced. It was with the UAMPS group, which is nice in a way. There is some strength in numbers when we're partnering with other municipal utilities. And so we recommend that we adopt the resolution. The mayor's office also recommends that we adopt this resolution that will allow us to get into an agreement with the Navajo Tribal Authority. The city attorneys have also looked at the document and have noticed there's 2 changes we're going to make to the agreement, right, GL? It wasn't a resolution, it was the agreement. There was 2 changes. One, is referred to Murray City, Utah, and that should be Murray City Corporation. That's just a boilerplate UAMPS stamp that comes through. We use their paperwork. The other change was a typo that said 20 years. It should be 25 years term. GL, I think that was the only 2 changes we had. Yeah.
Signature line will not be the mayor.
Yeah, sorry. The signature line on that will be the city council.
For the resolution.
That's right. And that's because the UAMPS organization doesn't understand we're a strong mayor form of government, I think, is kind of the way to put it. So those are the 3 changes. So with that, Brett, we recommend adoption.
Okay. We'll bring. Any questions for Blaine?
Yeah, I have a question, and I think I asked this already. I'm just wondering if there's a possibility of increasing the amount that we receive.
Yeah, this subscription of 66 megawatts is subscribed, but there's a plan for another 4th project down there that the Navajos are working towards, and we would have the opportunity into that. I know that most of the UAMPS members clamored for this. They really liked the idea of bringing large-scale solar into their mix, and we jumped on it pretty fast. But the answer to your question, not this project, but maybe a year or 2 down the road.
Okay.
We'll have a chance for some more.
That'd be great. Then I think this is wonderful. So
how do you we say what percentage of the portfolio it makes up, but it's not effective at night. So how do we account for that?
What we do, Dave, is we count all the kilowatt hours that are produced, whether it be daytime or nighttime, and I just simply divide that into the number of kilowatt hours our people use.
Overall.
So during the daytime, we might use 5% of the energy produced by this, but over the 24-hour period, it'd lower down to 3% or something.
Okay, all right, I get that. All right, thank you, Blaine.
It's called load factor. When you have certain plants that run at higher load factors, it means availability. Wind's only available 20% of the time, solar 40%.
Good.
Which is why it's in the Four Corners area, not up in Alaska.
Other questions for Blaine?
We get the recs for it, correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Right now, the recs are in the price range of $1 or $2. And what a rec is we would be able to sell those on the market for, or use them for our own use.
Yeah, and then you can market it to businesses or citizens who want to be fully renewable. So regardless of the value, you can't call it renewable without them. So
that's right.
Okay.
You gotta have something, a tag to back it up.
Yep.
Other questions for Blaine?
I'm good to make a motion if you're ready.
Yeah, you bet.
I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of a power supply agreement with Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems and the Red Mesa to Baja Solar Project transaction schedule under such power supply agreement and related matters.
I'll second.
Jennifer?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.
Okay. 25 years from now, your name will go on that motion. So.
Okay, there you go. 25 years from now. That'll be.
That could be good or bad.
Okay, thanks, Blaine. We appreciate it. Okay, item number 2 for the business items. Consider resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city, Salt Lake County, and Salt Lake City Corporation, Salt Lake, for a Brownsfield assessment grant. Melinda. And no Jim, so Melinda.
You get me tonight. I'll be much quicker now.
You done yet?
Mostly because I'm winging it, and Jim just knows everything. So this item has to do with a grant that we applied for the beginning of the year and were awarded. It was a grant that we teamed up with Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County to submit for brownfields funding through the EPA, which essentially just allows us to conduct studies, phase ones, those type of things on properties where we want to develop or we know may need have needs for assessment of soil contamination. There was about $600,000 awarded between the 3 entities. How that's divided up is kind of, I think, to be determined. But the coalition, this resolution for the coalition is just essentially formalizing the relationship between the 3 entities, and we'll be working together to submit project-specific items in the future to get that grant funding, to draw on that grant funding.
Okay. Thank you, Melinda. Any questions from Melinda? Let's see any. Let's make a motion.
I'll move to adopt the resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city, Salt Lake County, and Salt Lake City Corporation for a brownfield assessment grant.
I'll second that.
You got that, Jennifer? Look at her. She's so smooth. Okay, Jennifer.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thanks, Melinda. Okay, final business item, consider approval of revisions to the rules of the Murray City Council. Our Council Director, Jan Lopez. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you. This is a business item to make revisions to the governing procedures of the council, the rules. And we presented this about 3 weeks ago on August 6th in Committee of the Whole. I think you're all familiar with the changes. We had some minor revisions in the agendas section, some revisions to the personnel section, and we had the addition of the independent financial audit and the addition of council relations, anti-harassment policy, and I did make the changes that you requested on that, where the reporting would go to the city attorney. Any questions?
Any questions for Jan? All righty. Thanks, Jan. Okay, we'll ask for a motion. Or yeah, no questions, so a motion.
Turn it off. I'll move we approve the revisions to the rules of the Murray City Council.
I'll second.
Jennifer.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Jan. Mayor, for the mayor report.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In the spirit of the power report this evening, we had previously reported the damage that was done as a result of the mudslide in Little Cottonwood Canyon. It shut down the Cottonwood Hydro. Happy to report that thanks to the great work of our crews, that the hydro is back up and running again, and which is very interesting because the last week of August, and usually there's not enough water to even turn them. But we're producing about 1.2 megawatts still out of the hydro. So great work by our power department. I wanted to mention that the city has a few events scheduled on this coming Labor Day. There's a family and youth triathlon starting at 7:45 a.m. and the registration deadline for that is tomorrow. August 28th, so anyone interested needs to drop by the Parks office or the Park Center or go online to register. And then that evening at 6 p.m., the Murray Acoustic Music Festival will be held at the amphitheater. Tickets are available for that at the Parks office, and then that will be the last event at the amphitheater for this year. Also, the Park Center has reopened this week after being closed for maintenance. The floor in the basketball court was refinished, and there were upgrades made in the kids zone, which are really nice. However, the indoor leisure pool is still closed. They're still working on replastering that, and so that will be opened again soon. As I'm sure you're aware, the crews are still working on installing the storm drain on Vine Street. The section closest to 9th East will be paved in the next week or two, and then the paving crews will be working towards 13th East, so making progress there. Seems slow if you're trying to get through that area or live in that area, but we're making progress, so that's good. I just wanted to mention for the public record, and also just to let maybe refresh the memory of any council members, there have been discussions brought up with citizen comments recently regarding the topic of short-term overnight rentals, and it's been mentioned that they're not allowed in the city, but I just wanted to mention for the record and clarify that there are two zones that these short-term rentals are allowed in. They are allowed in the TOD and also in the MU zones. So just for the public record. And then finally, beginning tomorrow, the intersection at Commerce Drive and 4800 South will be under construction for traffic signal and pedestrian upgrades. Estimated that that'll be up to 6 weeks to take that, so you can expect delays in that area for the next several weeks, and or take an alternate route. But that's, again, 4800 South and Commerce Drive. And that's my report. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for the mayor? None? All right, thanks, Mayor. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We'll be adjourned.